BrahMos strike and mayhem in Pakistan. The inside story behind ceasefire. An urgent call by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio asking Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir to get off the accelerator after the launch of a ballistic missile towards Sirsa, India's massive operation to hit 10 Pakistani air bases with BrahMos, Hammer and Scalp missiles in retaliation, and the looming threat of a nuclear war. A rapid chain of events signaling a dangerous escalation on Friday night led to a US-brokered ceasefire between India and Pakistan the day after. Top sources in the government said India's retaliatory offensive, approved by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, against Pakistani air bases was an operation even bigger in scale than Operation Sindoor on May 7, and Pakistan realized it was exposed to annihilation and also faced the prospect of its nuclear facilities being taken. India's unprecedented retaliation, at a scale not even seen during earlier wars, came after Pakistan dared to fire a ballistic missile towards India. It was brought down near Sirsa. On the other hand, all of India's missiles hit their target, including Nurkan Air Base near the Pakistan Army's general headquarters in Rawalpindi. Imagery released by an Indian firm Kawa Space spotlights damage at Pakistan's Jacob Abbott Air Base. The Indian Air Force strike appears to have affected a hangar on the base's main apron. Minor, possible secondary damage to the ATC building is also suspected. Pic.twitter.com 7 Damian Simon Detries Fa _May 11, 2025. Within 90 minutes, India pounded Nurkan Air Base, Rafiki Air Base in Shorkot, Murid Air Base in Punjab, Sucker Air Base in Sindh, Sialkot Air Base, Sargodha Air Base, Skardu Air Base, Polari Air Base near Karachi, Jacob Abbott Air Base and Pasrar Airstrip. Precision striking by Indian ALCM likely BrahMos at PAF Base Polari on May 10, 2025. Via Kawa Space Pic.twitter.com YKP9TSLW9X Alpha Defense Alpha_Defense May 11, 2025. INDIA also struck and took out Chinian radar installation in a swift response. India fired its BrahMos missiles, and Hammer and Scalp missiles from Rafale fighter jets at these strategic air bases in its biggest set of attacks. Precision striking by Indian ALCM at PAF Base Shaubaz, Jacob Abbott on May 10, 2025, via Kawa Space Angd Kepler Back 1 Pic.twitter.com Bitwazawiv Alpha Defense Alpha_Defense May 11, 2025. A New York Times report says alarm bells rang loud in the US after India hit Nurkan Air Base. The base is a key installation, one of the central transport hubs for Pakistan's military and home to the air refueling capability that would keep Pakistani fighters aloft. But it is also just a short distance from the headquarters of Pakistan's Strategic Plans Division, which oversees and protects the country's nuclear arsenal, says the NYT report. The strikes on Nurkan and Rafiki air bases were critical as they disrupted the heart of Pakistan's air logistics and high-level military coordination. Nurkan base is closest to Islamabad and often used for VIP transport and military logistics. Its neutralization severed critical links between the Pakistan Air Force PAF leadership and its operational units during the conflict, sources say. Rafiki, a key fighter base hosting frontline combat squadrons, too, was rendered inoperable. The destruction of its aircraft shelters and runway infrastructure significantly weakened Pakistan's ability to launch airborne counter-operations. This move effectively removed one of PAF's sharpest offensive tools. By targeting Murid Air Base, India disrupted a vital training and potential missile storage hub. The strike degraded Pakistan's long-term air force readiness, cutting off a critical node in the pilot training pipeline and eliminating logistical depth for future operations. The destruction of Sargodha was a strategic masterstroke. One of the most critical bases in Pakistan, home to Combat Commanders School, nuclear delivery platforms, and elite squadrons. Its decimation crippled the neighboring country's command and control structure. That was not the end. India's strikes on Skardu Air Base hurt Pakistan's northern surveillance and air operations near the line of actual control, while also disrupting logistical links that could have supported Chinese-Pakistani coordination in the high Himalayas. Then, India's destruction of Sucker Air Base cut Pakistan's southern air corridor. Sucker had been essential for troop and equipment movement across Sindh and Balochistan. Its loss severed key logistical arteries and reduced Pakistan's operational range in the south. As one of Pakistan's newest air bases with dual-use naval and air roles, Polari had symbolized future ambitions of southern force projection. Its destruction erased those aspirations, compromising coastal defense coordination and leaving Karachi vulnerable to further strikes. A retaliation of this scale showed India and Pakistan were on the verge of a massive escalation, one that could possibly lead to a nuclear war. US President Donald Trump's post on Sunday indicated towards the fear of a nuclear escalation. Welcoming the ceasefire, he said India and Pakistan showed the strength, wisdom, and fortitude to fully know and understand that it was time to stop the current aggression that could have led to the death and destruction of so many, and so much. Millions of good and innocent people could have died. Your legacy is greatly enhanced by your brave actions. I am proud that the USA was able to help you arrive at this historic and heroic decision, Trump said. Before this, on Saturday, CNN said that after speaking to Trump, US Vice President J.D. Vance called up Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. According to the CNN report, Vance made it clear to Modi that the White House believed there was a high probability of a dramatic escalation, and encouraged him to have his country communicate with Pakistan directly and to consider options available for de-escalation. Meanwhile, Rubio got the phones working with the Pakistani side as well, including the crucial call to the Munir. The unprecedented call to Munir showed the US realized the army chief was not listening to the Pakistani political leadership and calling the shots. India and Pakistan may have agreed to an immediate ceasefire, but not before New Delhi made it clear to the world it will not seek anyone's permission to defend its people, top government sources said. The Indian response served as a global signal: terrorists and their masterminds will find no safe haven. Hours before the ceasefire was announced, India had warned that any future terrorist attack would be treated as an act of war and responded to accordingly, a direct message to Pakistan to rein in its actions going forward. Nan India's massive counter-terror strikes on May 7, codenamed Operation Sindoor, targeted deep positions inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir to avenge the brutal killing of 26 civilians in the April 22 Pahalgam attack. The operation was an absolute success, government sources confirmed, with Indian forces neutralizing 9 high-value terror launchpads. What's significant is that these strikes were not limited to border regions. India struck targets hundreds of kilometers inside Pakistani territory, including in Bahawalpur and across Punjab province, both considered key military strongholds. During the operation, Indian forces successfully jammed or bypassed Pakistan's air defense systems, leaving them exposed for up to 23 minutes, a significant tactical advantage. Then on Friday night, by hitting 10 Pakistani air bases again deep inside Pakistan, India showed its military dominance over the rival. India's deployment of non-military measures still remains in effect to reinforce its strategy to corner and consolidate international support. Among them is the suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty, a move with serious water supply consequences for Pakistan. The treaty remains on pause. Overall, these coordinated kinetic and non-kinetic actions have imposed tangible diplomatic and economic costs on Pakistan, deepened its isolation, and reaffirmed India's zero-tolerance policy on terrorism. Swipe left for next video. New Delhi continues to work on the principle of Reve Rifi and then only trust when it comes to Islamabad. The signal is clear: India's guard will remain up and it is incumbent upon Pakistan to behave responsibly. Nan latest blogs.